What's up, amigos? Commander Jaime here today. Today, I have an awesome person as Noman Irfan. And so I wanted to make sure I said that correctly. Is that correct, Noman?
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. Because I totally get that when people say, call me Jamie.
Yeah,
So
for
anybody
sure.
that's curious, I prefer Jaime. But anyway, one of the biggest things that Noman has done is that he went to BCS Houston and he topped in both formats of V Premium and Premium, specifically for Gurguit in V and then Nightmare Dolls in Premium too. So one, congrats again on your topping, especially doing it twice in a weekend, bro. That's skill, right? Exactly. Right back
Appreciate
at you. So really what I want to do too, I'll put the deck list throughout the video too, and also kind of ask some questions, starting off with like the basics. One of the things is like I ask people like where they come from, like do you have any communities locally or anything like that? You want to go into
Yeah,
that?
sure. Yeah. So I'm from Alabama in the United States for anyone not in the United States, but we don't have a local like community per se. We have like it's like myself, Andrew, Curtis, but as far as like we don't really play because no locals, but we do talk like decent bit like mainly for like BCS preparation to say like, hey, like this is what I'm taking, what do you think, so on and so on. But we are working on getting a locals back. We just have to
Mm.
like get cards, and we got I've got cards for people like so,
It's like I,
we're
I got
working on
decks,
it.
like please play with me now.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
really cool
Yeah.
that you're building it. One thing is like I've seen people, they just kind of like don't want to do anything. But it is challenging, so I give you that. um I guess with that being said, like do you focus mainly like on online based stuff like CFA or
Yeah.
remote fight? Like how does that look for you?
Yeah, so I primarily play on CFA.
Hmm.
The problem with like remote fight
Mm.
is that you have to wait till you have the physical product in hand in
Oh, if
order
you don't have the cards
to
yet.
test.
Hmm.
Yeah, or you can just like go, get proxies or something, but at that point, like you still have to put in like a lot of work to like cut it out, put it in, and then
Hmm.
you remote. I'd rather just like CFA it up when like,
Hmm.
just click away and you're good to go. So that's primarily where I test. And on top of that, a lot of my testing partners are out of
Hmm.
country. So like it really varies between like time zone.
Hmm.
And I also don't want to get like product for, let's say like I'm testing like something, right? And I get the product in, I play it, sucks. I'm
Oh.
like, oh, great. Well, guess I gotta turbo to TCG play or something, and then so on and so on. But yeah, CFA has been like the most effective method of
Hmm.
testing for me personally.
No, that makes a lot of sense too. I think players sometimes forget that they feel like they have to have a locals or maybe some like qualifiers around the area to like get practice or real
Yeah.
practice in their eyes too. But I mean, just utilizing even CFA, and if you're playing with the right people too, I think it'll honestly do most of the work for you at that point too. Going more into your preparation, you do focus on playing online. So what are some things that you do to prepare for big events? Like, do you play with certain players, or are there certain a structure or format to your deck building process? Can you elaborate more into that too as well?
Yeah, for sure. I primarily test with my team at WCC,
Mm-hmm.
mostly Solemn, but I do like talk a lot of theory with the rest of my teammates like Derek Dow, Toby Jones, etc., as well as like other like players that I personally know that aren't on the team, like David Smart. I
Mm-hmm.
always like bounce ideas back and forth with him. Very, very insightful player. Like, if there's anyone I would say is like super cracked and like, he's not very active on like social media, but like David Smart, crazy good player. But yeah, so as far as like deck building goes,
Mm-hmm.
like I do as like the meme probably everyone knows by now, I do go like, hey Solemn, what do I play? Yeah, it hasn't steered me wrong yet. So like it's been working out. But there is still like you still need to you
Mm-hmm.
can't just like take a deck and just be like, okay, good to
Right.
go. You still need to like test it out. You need to see like, okay, are these choices actually efficient? You need to actually know the deck
Mm-hmm.
before going into the event. There's a lot of factors that like go into preparing. As I mean, it's not always just like, all right, here's a list, I'm going in,
Right.
like let's just do it. Like you still have to play, you still have to know why those choices are in the deck. Definitely like questions are important, like,
Mm,
hey, why is this in here? Why isn't this in here? And so on and so
yes.
on. And just understanding that it's like pretty vital to knowing the performance of your deck.
Absolutely. Like one of the things that sometimes people bash is net decking, right?
Hmm.
And I don't think net decking is a bad thing. I mean, if you take a list like you said, but don't do any thought into it or any effort into it, and you expect to just auto win, then that's shame on you, right? But I feel like if you get a chance to talk to the pilot or the player that made the deck, like you can ask those questions like you're saying. So in my eyes, it saves you a lot of time. Do you feel like it
Yeah,
actually saves you time and also effort?
plenty. Yeah, yeah,
And
because there's also like,
go ahead.
like life going on. Like you still have like work, you still have like your personal life. You have like a lot of things going on in your personal life. Like you have like work, you have, your personal relationships with friends, family, and loved ones. Like it's very unreasonable to try to fit, like all that testing into
Mhm.
1 week, as opposed to when like you can take shortcuts, which is fine. Like that's why shortcuts exist. But it is still very important to be efficient at everything. Like I said, like you get a deck, you have to be efficient at it. Like you can't just take the shortcut and go with that. You have to take it in, acknowledge the deck, acknowledge the card choices, etc.
Right.
Ask the questions, and then you should be good to go after that.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for going into that too, because I think it gives players better perspective. And I think sometimes like people they shy away from that, and so they try to be creative in their
Hmm.
eyes too, to like, oh, my deck's original, which can be challenging to do if there's already a solid build, right, for that
Yeah.
specific deck. So you're almost playing like the second best version of it too, depending on the state of that deck is, which leads me into my next question, the more meat that people are looking
Hmm.
into. So we're gonna cover both the decks. So let's start off with like a V premium with Gurguit. So I guess why did you choose Gurguit, and what were some certain key cards that you want to point out with the deck build?
Yeah. So I picked Gurgory because like Houston was in this odd format to where the restrictions list is applied.
Mm-hmm.
However, clan collection is not legal. So it's like this one time
Yeah.
only format. It was really awkward. But I do like this kind of formats. It's like really fun. It's like, okay, you have like one shot, like one weird wonky format,
Yeah.
go nuts. So Gurguit is, since Prism was hit,
Mm-hmm.
my team for Springfest,
Mm-hmm.
David played Gurguit, and it worked out pretty well. Like I was on Prism, Andrew was on Night Rose, and David was on Gurguit. And
Okay.
he did really well. Like his records were like X1 slash undefeated, like
Yeah.
depending on like which Springfest we went to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, we'll just play Gurguit.
Mm-hmm.
The other answer or the other deck choice I could have made was Anj Highlander, but I don't know
Mm.
card names. Like that's one of my biggest like weaknesses. Like I don't know card names. Like I love like Luard, but like I cannot tell you like the Luard names, like the full title. I know you don't have to know the full name if you just describe it, that's fine.
Right.
But I don't know their effects fully either.
Right.
Like I can give you a vague description. Like I know Aqua, but if I like slam down like a Katara, I'm like, oh, the Gold Paladin card. Lisa Let, and
Yeah.
I didn't want to risk it. You also need to know
Fair
your
enough.
deck like inside and out for like Anj Highlander. I'm like, I don't have time. We like got the announcement.
Mm.
We have 3 weeks to get ready
Fair
to fly
enough.
out. I'm like, no shot, man. I'm just gonna take Gurguit, which worked out great. Like I noticed
Mhm.
a lot of people played Jeffrey over the Ezel Hyrule variant, which I,
I
I
see.
respect
Yeah.
both. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I really like the Superior Ride because when you play Gurguit and you don't see Percival, the deck is like way too fair. Like
Yeah.
you have like one circle. Um, if you don't see Percival, it's like plus 5k. That's not enough.
Right.
But with the Hyrule variant, you can just get your second circle and randomly Hyrule your opponent by just Ezel, like Ezel them asleep. My favorite play in the deck was like Superior Ride to Ezel,
Yeah.
and then you go slam down card, slam down Aglovale,
Mm-hmm.
and you go like swing card, swing Aglovale, tuck in a soul, bounce back Aglovale, call Ezel, or swing Ezel,
Yep.
call Aglovale again, swing again. You just get like so much damage, and it's crazy.
Just by
That's like
that
one of my
simple
favorite
play.
plays. Yeah, it's like 3 cards. Like you have card 1, the booster, and Aglavale in the Excel Circle. But yeah, I felt like very confident with that deck. My loss in top 8, oh man, it was tragic. Like, trying to block out that memory, like, it's so bad. I didn't see Gurguit. So, like, yeah, I guarded with the Sagramore.
Yeah.
And then I drew Mock/Return.
So you couldn't even G assist.
Yeah. But like, I talked about it with David and Nikki Goldman. Like, Nikki was at that event with me as well.
Cool.
And it's not like a crazy scenario, because you do play like a lot of grade 3s in the deck. You play like 2 Mock/, 3 Sagramore, 1 Ezel, 4 Gurguit, and the heal guards are also like 4 additional like grade 3s within the deck. So like, in hindsight, I probably should have kept the Sagramore and just like, you draw 2 off riding Sagramore. You have the Excel Circle and then its own skill. So maybe it would have been worth to stay on Sagramore, because like the chances of you getting Gurguit on a GSS is still like not reasonably high. So I don't know. It's all hindsight at the end of the day, so it's whatever. But I felt really confident with the deck. The deck was like pretty crazy with like the Ezel engine going in.
Yeah, it does what it does best too. And you had mentioned the superior ride engine. Do you usually typically do that going first, or do you do that sometimes going second?
So going first, absolutely. Like 100%. We're slamming down the Wonder Ezel and Howl just like 2019.
Yep.
But in going second, so I talked about this with David. If you play against like Thavas, for example, which was like the deck to fear for this event.
Yeah.
You have to gauge the game state, obviously, but sometimes it was just worth riding up to Ezel anyways, because like trying to push them with 1 circle for plus 5k, it's really weak. But if you have 2 circles, that's really good. But I mean, if your hand is like filled with like heal guards, and like you stay on grade 2, of course, but the plus 5k off of Thavas, it's not that threatening, or not Lambros,
it's already a big column.
Yeah, so it's like you're probably gonna eat it anyways, so you're just gonna guard like the small pokes early and then just eat the rest of the damage. So like I did superior right up to Ezel a couple games anyways, just even going second, just so I can like be on a 12k body, and then my turn after I can ride the Gurguit. Yeah, and then just like have the 2 Excel circles to push for like plus 10ks off everything.
No, that makes a lot of sense too, because like, you know, typically it's like I don't want to give him like me going first a grade 3 turn, but it's a little bit different in V Premium too. So you can kind of get away with little things like that. But that makes sense too. Like when I played in Bro too, I felt like Gurguit was going to be a solid pick too. You got like the Bermuda Triangle variants. There's so many decks. It's crazy. And I felt like Thavas, just like you mentioned, was another deck that could be something to fear, in your words, right? And that's why I played it too. And whenever I faced Gurguit, it was like a back and forth, you know? And it's just knowing what to take and what not to take, and if you have like the grade 3 heals to like survive too, it changes the game in that respect too. Awesome. Honestly, that answered a lot of the questions with the deck build. You did a really good job on concising that. I guess we can elaborate a little more about your matchup since you mentioned it. Is there any key moments that you remember, like make or break deals moments kind of thing?
Yeah, I get night terrors about guarding with Sagramore and drawing Mock / every night, so that like scarred me mentally for the rest of my life. But
gotcha.
But like the pure just joy of going superior right Ezel.
True.
Call Percival is just that can like restore like 5 years into your life. Like if I'm ever like 109 years old one day and I'm just like trying to squeeze that extra 5 years of my life, I'm gonna be like, hey man, you want to play 2022 Houston V Premium format? Just one game, bro. Just one game. We'll live for a long time.
It's like I need that gold paladin juice. No, that's funny. I guess that was the one main thing that caught you like scarred.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate, but
which is fine too. Did you face any Thavas by chance, since you mentioned it as one of the
much.
Are you serious? How many
So
how many
much,
rounds, you don't want me asking?
I think I played against 4 to 5 Thavas, if I remember correctly. Yeah. The whole event was like Thavas Turbo. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. However, like I stopped being scared of the deck once like if I saw like grade 1 Howl Wonderezzel in my hand,
Hmm.
I'm just like, I'm not scared anymore.
It's like I'm
Like,
good.
yeah.
Yeah. I felt the same way with Favas too. It's like as long as I have like a card like Pursuit Assault to be able to like rest to go into Lambros, like I'm good, you know.
Hmm.
And it'll figure itself out. That kind of feeling, right?
Yeah.
No, I gotcha. Cool. Well, that's good to know. Sometimes I would expect that with like the meta decks that people think like Gurguit like 5 times or a Bermuda
Hmm.
Triangle, but seeing Thavas 5 times, holy crap,
Yeah.
that's eye opening actually.
It's like 4 or 5, I think. Probably 4.
Yeah, but still,
Because
that's a,
I remember round 1 was like
mhm.
100%. Yeah, round 1 was definitely Thavas, and I think my last round was also pretty sure it's Thavas. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense too. Cool. I guess this switching gears. What's funny, we're going into Pale Moon and not Gear Chronicle, but that would have been a good segue.
Yeah.
But with Pale Moon now in Premium, you're playing Nightmare Dolls. So I guess the biggest question is like, why Nightmare Dolls? And at the same time, what were some key cards? Because it got new support from the Premium collection too. And I noticed you played
Yeah.
some of the not Stokeia, but Dark States cards.
Yeah.
Did you want to go over that too?
Yeah, sure. So once again, it was, hey, Solemn, what do I play? And he goes, play Nightmare Doll. I'm like, okay, sounds good to me, bro. So pretty much like the list I took was very similar to
Mhm.
the list I took to Springfest.
Mhm.
Like I felt very confident in the list. I went undefeated in Springfest with that list. So I was
Mhm.
like, okay, like don't like try to crack what's already broken, or
Right.
don't fix what's not broken. That's kind of weird to say in TCG terms because
Right.
broken is good.
No,
But
that's true.
yeah. So like the only change I made was, aside from the G zone, was in the grade 2 lineup, I replaced the previous 10k Dark State cards with the whatever they're called, the new ones.
Yeah.
You'll see it in the list.
Yeah.
Because they sometimes have an effect. Like if you have like both on the field, you can like nuke a Honolly with it. Never
Yeah.
came up, but I'd rather have the opportunity to give myself the chance to get an effect versus not having an effect.
True.
Everything else was pretty much the same. I never really used the new premium collection stride. However,
Really?
yeah, it was like, eh,
It
I'd
seems
rather
pretty
just like
good.
Leslie Alice. It is, yeah, it's a very good card. It's just like never had the opportunity. Funny enough though, do you remember the last restrictions list where they restricted Harry
Yeah.
with Alice?
Yep.
Okay, so that mattered a lot. Yeah, like that restrictions list got memed on, and I was one of them too. I was like, oh man, this list sucks, but no, it mattered, and like it
Hmm.
smited me. All right, so I in top 8, I sat down and I played against Chaos.
Oh wow.
Yeah, which looking back, like I definitely could have played better. There's like, looking back, there's like so many things I could have done better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, I looked through my G zone, I'm like, there is no Harry in here.
Right.
I was
Because
like,
he says like circles, right? So he gets around the
yeah,
lock mechanic itself.
you suck them all in and then spit out two. So like you could beat like Link Joker any day, but we don't have that. And when I'm sitting, I'm like, man,
Ooh.
that restrictions list really mattered, huh?
This one chaos matchup in top 8,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, just it happened. And
Mhm.
I don't know, it was funny though. Like looking back, I'm just like, that's pretty funny.
Gotcha. What was the typical win and image that you strived for? Did you want to go more into that too as well?
Yeah, sure. All reliable. Premium collection 1, Alice Leslie. You're good to go, man. Like gang's all here on the board. Like you just go nuts with it.
Yeah.
There are like times where like you do have to change up your game plan a little bit,
Mhm.
especially against like Chaos.
Right.
Because if you have just Alice Leslie, like, or what's her name? Yeah, Leslie in the back row,
Mhm.
they can just G
To
guard and like
restand.
block it.
Yep.
Yeah, like they have G guards to just like deal with it. So you
Yeah.
have to like really dedicate. Like the Chaos matchup's really tough because they nuke Excel circles on your turn. They have G guards to lock your back row, so you have to over dedicate to your back row to like actually get the Alice Leslie
So you
off.
lock something else instead. Right.
Yeah, but then at that point they have 2 G guards. Then
Yeah, that's how
Yeah.
they get around it. It's challenging if they have it or if they don't have it. So unless
Yeah.
you can get a chance to see what they drove check or anything like that,
Mhm.
sometimes they just have it,
Yeah.
and it could be rough. Definitely.
Yeah.
Cool, cool.
The
Go ahead.
10Ks made a huge difference. Like
Oh yeah.
that's the same thing I played in like last Springfest,
Mm-hmm.
and 10Ks were just like crazy. It's like you have a higher chance of winning like every grade 2 game because you're on a 10K body.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to go into your ride down play and go back into the 10K is like really strong because like even like let's say like I'm trying to think of an example. Like you swing with a booster, you're swinging 18, which makes like guarding awkward for like the 9K mirror, and they also have to dedicate boosters to hit you.
Yeah.
On top of that,
Right.
it's pretty much just like early V series days where like Force Excel Protect and like
Yeah.
you went first with Force, and then everything else was like struggling to hit you. And like dedicating back row to hit my Vanguard is also a bit risky because I can just do like the Chelsea play where I just like tuck her in, start sucking in your cards into your soul.
Yeah.
So you're just like losing advantage as the game goes on longer and
You're
longer.
forcing them to play the card, and
Yeah.
now you have
So like
targets too.
yeah, so it just gets like really awkward against a 10K Vanguard.
That's really cool. Like kind of like thinking about that with Pale Moon, because a lot of people like think of it as the grade 2 game with the 9Ks poking poke poke, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden you have this 10K Vanguard, and they're like, oh crap.
Yeah. It gets really weird.
Yeah, like it forces you to write up if it honestly your best option. It just really depends. So no, that's really good
Mhm.
hindsight too. Just looking back at it, and I was gonna say the same thing, like any make or break deals, but it sounds like you covered the chaos one.
Yeah.
I would be in that moment like, you gotta be kidding me, of all
Mhm.
the decks that you can be playing against, you played chaos that actually made it to top 8. That's
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah, opponent was super nice guy.
Hmm.
Like, I had a great time. Like, I lost in top 8 for both V and Preem,
Hmm.
but like, what matters at the end is like, I had a great time. So,
Yeah,
whatever.
that's the important thing. Plus, I mean, you made it to top
Mhm.
8. That's like awesome in itself already too.
Oh yeah,
Especially since you did it twice. Like, that's
appreciate
awesome.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I guess wrapping up a little bit, more of like the after the tournament kind of thing. So, did you feel like that you learned something or maybe reaffirmed something after the events?
Yeah, plenty. I learned the restrictions list mattered. That was something to know. Um, just knowing like, so like I really enjoy playing like real Vanguard, like with
Mm,
real cards and everything. And
mhm.
the only time I get to actually play real Vanguard is at a BCS. Like I don't actually like play with paper and like outside of like BCS.
Right.
But every time going to one, it always like reaffirms like how much I love Vanguard in general.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I was like, all right, this is like super fun. Like being able to play with like paper, so cool. Manually put down my Excel circles, super
Oompa.
nice.
Just start stacking
Yeah,
them. I play Excel clans too, so I know how it feels like.
yeah,
Once you start getting the second and the third one, you're like, I'm in a good
mm,
spot.
yeah,
No, that's really good to hear actually, because like sometimes people forget, because some people do have like access to a locals or a friend or a community that they can see in person and play in person. It's a different
yeah.
experience than just the CFA route. So thanks
Mm,
for sharing with that too as well. Like some people need to realize that there are people, even like for the Bushiroad virtual events, they live parts in the world where they have nothing of a community, but yet they still want to play the game,
yeah,
which is crazy too, just thinking about it. But them getting a chance to actually play in a regional tournament and then potentially getting recognition if they top on top of that too.
mm,
So I think having both formats allows for that too. I kind of want to dive deep into what you had mentioned, like to reaffirm about your enjoyment with the game. Have there been moments where sometimes it might have been like a struggle to play test beforehand, or maybe you were in a funk before? Has that ever happened to you?
yeah. It happened with like previous games.
Mm,
Primarily outside of Vanguard. Like when I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh
yeah,
before getting into Vanguard.
yeah,
And testing for Yu-Gi-Oh was like really rough. Like we have a huge like local community for it,
yeah.
but just like getting efficient testing in was very awkward.
Mm,
But for as far as like Vanguard is concerned, I consider myself very lucky for like having the play group that I do have. Because like when I started Vanguard, it was just Andrew, David, and I just
Yeah.
like playing. Like we're all local.
Yeah.
At the time. And then after that, like I got in touch with Solemn, and luckily for me, Solemn just no lives Vanguard, so that's great. So so like I can always like rely on like an efficient testing partner as well as like the rest of like Team WCC. Like the funny thing is like because we're all like in different time zones, like you will always have like someone who's available.
Who's available? That is a good perk, actually. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so it's like always nice to like have people to like always reliably test with. I think that's just like something I will never take for granted.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that sometimes people forget that they think they can just practice and figure things on their own. But just having like those valuable test partners or people that you can kind of like brainstorm and actually use the constructive criticism to your advantage is like a whole different level too.
Yeah.
I remember even a couple times, even this year, like David Adi Pratama, he messaged me too. He's like, hey, let's talk about Aquaforce. So I'm like, let's do this. And then we play our formats, whether it be premium or V premium, and it's just like that makes a difference. And you go into the tournament too with another level of confidence.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Would you agree that sometimes people struggle with confidence in tournaments? Have you ever seen that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I see it all the time. Like there's people who are just like nervous, like the moment like a starter is flipped up, they just like all their spirits break. Like
they smack their lips.
Yeah. It's very disheartening to see. Like I like especially like throughout like all the events I've played for Vanguard. Like sometimes I'll flip a starter and my opponent's spirit is already like broken. It's like play it out, bro. Like you never know what could happen. Like
yeah. No, I agree. And people gotta have a more positive attitude. It's like, you know, what did they expect, right? They might as well have fun with it and maybe learn something that they haven't seen yet before for the next event. You know?
You definitely don't want to put yourself in like a self-fulfilling prophecy, like a loop of that, where like if you just like, you know, think you're gonna lose, you know, it just like starts to snowball. Like you think you're gonna lose, then you believe you're gonna lose, and then you just lose, and it just loops over and over again.
You give up on yourself. You start trying. As soon as you start falling into the trap, it's hard to get out of that, and if you can't get out of it, you've already lost.
Yeah.
Which is crazy in itself too. No, thanks for even touching base on that. Not many people think about that stuff too. Cool. So here's a like more of a takeaway question for the viewers too. I like to ask like, what is something in your eyes that you think that maybe holds players back from just topping events, and you know what's something that you may recommend helping them get through as well?
So this might be like, it might sound vague, but I'll go into it. I promise.
Sure.
I think having fun is like really big. Like from I get it, like you want to top, you want to have your accomplishments, you know, and everything, but never forget to have fun in the game, because I'm like, what's the point? Like, you know, if you blur the line between fun and work, and you know you work, like that's when things get stressful. Like you don't want, like I get it, like I get stressed like for BCS season. I'm like, oh, I really want to top, but I want to top because it's fun.
Yeah.
Not to make it like a dedicated system of, you know, like just trying to make, if you make it work, then like you're not having fun. And once you're like not having fun with it, it actually lowers your, you know, like mentality. It's like you're treating it like work, you're treating it like a chore. And once you do that, you know, you don't want to actually like dedicate yourself to it.
Yeah.
Like you start to unenjoy, you don't look forward to it. And then at that point, like it just snowballs into like, just like really like I'm sorry, I'm not good with words, but like
a pity party almost.
Yeah, and it just gets bad from there on. Like always have fun. It's okay to not top. Like
that's a big one.
Yeah, it's like perfectly okay. Like as long as you have fun, as long as you are enjoying yourself and you don't top, it's fine. Like play the game, have fun with yourself and your friends. If you top, great. But if you don't, it's fine. Just keep going.
That's super big in itself. with both things you said, like having fun, and we all get stressed. I get stressed too. It's like, crap, I got a BCS in a week. I'm like, have I done enough playtesting? Have I tried enough things? And it's like, okay, let me slow down. What's the reason that I'm going to the event? You know, like,
Yeah.
yes, I want to top, right? But at
Mhm.
the same time, like, let's have a good time, meet some people, make some memories, you know, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason why we all started playing this card game in general,
Yeah.
right?
Have fun. It always goes back
Right.
to it.
Yeah, exactly. It goes back to that. I don't think there's anybody that starts a card game and is like, I'm just gonna be the person that tops at every event, and that's the
Yeah.
reason that I play. Like, I don't think I've yet to meet a person like that.
Mhm.
And the second thing you said, it's okay to not top, and I think people feel like they value themselves less because they don't top,
Yeah.
and I've seen even players that have topped before kind of get in this funk, and it kind of needs to, like, okay, I didn't top this event, what can I learn from it, you know?
Mhm.
How can I improve? Was it really just me, or was it something else that maybe I'm not thinking, kind of thing?
Yeah.
So no, that's always good, and I like talking about that stuff because some people don't really think about that too. You know, which kind of also brings it up to with Metafy too. Do you feel like Metafy is something that you would recommend to other players to help their skill
Yeah.
level?
Absolutely. So like the whole thing with Metafy is like I said, like, you know, you want to have fun, right? But
Mhm.
everyone also wants to top. So you can always just like expand yourself, or, you know, put yourself in a Metafy. If you don't want to do it, you don't do it. If you do want to, go for it. Like it's not like an obligation to
Mm.
do it. Like if you
Right.
want to, like, I know yourself, Derek, both offer like great coaching for players who want to get better at the game. It's okay if you like don't feel, you know, confident, like, oh, I want to top an event, but, you know, there is like a lot of people who don't have the privilege to have a good testing group.
Yeah.
Like it just happens, like, you know, you could be brand new to the game and you could be in like a deserted state like me or something, and
Mm-hmm.
you're just like, well, I want people to play with, I need to learn somehow, and Metafy is a good like bridge into that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like having someone to test with, talk with, learn from, very important to like just get better at the game in general.
No, I totally agree, and thank you for bringing that up. With like, some people do have the privilege to have like a great team, like you have access to WCC, for example. Some people just don't have anything or anybody. Yeah, so at least that's a way for people, like, hey, can like, get some time with one of the coaches on Metafy and get something out of it too, because they all have their goals, and I think it's also like another level of confidence for those people, because the self-doubt and that vicious self-fulfilling prophecy you mentioned too, easily comes when you're just by yourself, when you're more like lonely in your playtesting in that sense too.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing for that too. Any shout outs?
Plenty. I have like a scroll.
Go for it.
We'll keep it. We'll keep it reasonable. First thing is like shouts to my team, Team WCC. Definitely, like I said, like I will never take it for granted. Just like always having a group of people. I have high confidence, high trust in them. I value their opinions, and it's great to just be able to bounce ideas, test with them. Everyone knows my net decking machine, Maxime Solemn. Just it's like Teen Titans, like the Teen Titans movie with Brushagon, like the dude who is like trapped, like, yeah, just kind of like this, and it's like the detective presses a button and like ink comes out, like forcing him to make
Oh,
minions.
okay.
It's like that. Just like press the button and then like a deck list comes out of Solemn. I'm like, excellent, keep it up.
That's very vivid. I'm sure as he watches that, he's gonna laugh.
Yeah. And then yeah, like huge shouts to my team. Huge shouts to everyone I travel with as well. Like you know, I room with like Franz, just like Peter and them for like Duluth, Nico, and all of them. Like the best part about going to an event is to hang out with people, see people you don't normally see. Like I think it was like last week for Duluth, I got to see Franz, Masha, Randy, Peter, Nico, everyone's great time. The Florida crew, who Team Kingslayer killing it right now, by the way.
Yeah,
like,
they are.
There's a team coming up that like you should look out for. It's absolutely like Kingslayer cards. Insane.
Yeah, I just interviewed Crow actually.
Yeah,
right.
Crow's my homie, yeah. Yeah. Another shout out is to my work team. Like Another thing that I don't want to take for granted is my work team at the Onan group. They've made things so stress-free. It's crazy. Like before, like back in the day, I'd have to like fight tooth and nail to like go to events, but like with my current team, I'm just very grateful that everyone's like, yeah, man, go for it, have fun, best of luck.
Oh, that's cool.
Just makes everything so easy. Like, yeah, definitely the best like work environment I've ever been in. Huge shout outs to you guys. You know who you are. I'm not gonna list out every name unless we're trying to squeeze that revenue. But yeah, and then like all my friends, all my family, like thank you all for everything that you have done. Shout outs to you as well for thank you for inviting me here to speak my mind.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, appreciate you, man. And then like it's better than like my like tweets of just like blabbing nonsense all the time.
I love your tweets, bro. Every
like,
time I get the notifications, are like, what's Noman got to say today?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's pretty much. We'll just wrap up shout outs with that. I can go on for days, but we'll keep it short.
Sounds good. Awesome. Where can people find you? Is it mainly Twitter or any other social media you want to mention?
I'm mostly active on Twitter, at Sleepy Noman. I forget my actual display name. It's like it's got some spaces and stuff. I don't want to bother with that. Just at Sleepy Noman.
Yeah.
Good enough. You should be able to find me with that.
I'll put it in the description too, so it's easier for those people too. Is there a reason why it's called Sleepy Noman?
Yeah. Okay. So this was 2019 BCS in Atlanta. And I woke up that morning. This was for the V Premium format. I woke up with a headache. And so actually I'll give a little more context as like the bonus story for you guys. So I'm really annoying at night. Like I'm just gonna be upfront about it. Like I love talking. Like I love hanging out with everyone. So my buddy Karar is like, yo, take this sleeping pill. I'm like, nah, man, nah, I'm not gonna wake up if I do that. So I just didn't take it. Next morning I woke up with a headache, probably from talking too much and staying up, but probably all on me, honestly.
Fair assessment.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm walking around headache, and I thought they were Tylenol. Like I didn't pay attention. Tylenol was like white, like 2 bars, like white Tylenol. I didn't pay attention, so I took the sleeping pills. Yeah, and then I was like, round 1, I was like, all right guys, I'm gonna be real with you. If I lose even 1 game, I'm going to the hotel room and I'm gonna go sleep, and we're just gonna call it a day from there. So I went through the event for Swiss. I ended up undefeated.
Wow.
I was like, cool. I'm still really tired, but I mean, top 8 is top 8. You gotta play top 8.
Yeah, play it out.
Got to top 8. Still tired, but made it to top 4. Top 4 is when I started dozing off. That's when like the peak of the medicine started to kick in, and like I'm just like the entire event like, then like having a
your head going down and trying to wake up. Oh wow.
Yeah, and then like at that point like they're just like, yo, he's falling asleep, like and then made it to finals, which is funny.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
for real?
And then, like at that point I'm just like falling asleep, and I lost finals, got second, so happy about that. But like at that point everyone's like, who's that sleeping guy? Like so I just went by Sleepy Noman. I do sleep a lot at home though. Like,
yeah, it was just this one instance.
Yeah, there's been like a lot of times where like Solemn's like, you want to test? I'm like, yeah, man, let me just blink real quick, and then my eyes just don't open. Yeah, it's gone.
Wow, that's funny, because I was like, it has to mean something, right? And then
yeah, it used to just be like my handles will always just be like my first and last name before, but I'm like Sleepy Noman. That sounds funny.
No, that's clever actually too. Yeah, it's almost like people don't in the tournament don't even know that you took the pills, right? So yeah, it's just like no idea. It's this guy from like an anime where he's like waking up from his slumber and he's just like a really good fighter or something like that.
Yeah, like I didn't even.
It's just kind of funny.
Like, Karar told me at the end of it, he's like, yo, I think you like took those sleeping pills I had out for you last night.
Because I can't find them.
Yeah.
Nah, thanks for sharing that. I'm sure a lot of people will get a laugh after that too as well. So, well, I won't keep this too long. So that will be the end of the interview for today. So thanks again for hopping on and sharing everything wisdom wise and your experiences. A lot of players really appreciate them. I feel like there needs to be more content like this moving
For sure.
forward.
I mean, I'm always happy to hop on and start blabbing away. So let me
That
know.
makes things easier. Absolutely. Love chatting with you too. So without further ado, till the next time, amigos. Bye.